On the show today, we have guest Christina Hidek, the author of the Principal's Parent Group Playbook, Practical PTO Partnership Strategies for a Stronger School Community. She's a recovering attorney turned professional organizer and certified PTO volunteer nerd with over 15 years of parent group experience. She founded PTO Answers to boost family engagement in schools and empower parents to improve their child's educational experience and school community through PTA/PTO involvement. Get ready for a great episode.
I'm educational justice coach Lindsay Lyons, and here on the Time for Teachership podcast, we learn how to inspire educational innovation for racial and gender justice, design curricula grounded in student voice, and build capacity for shared leadership. I'm a former teacher leader turned instructional coach. I'm striving to live a life full of learning, running, baking, traveling, and parenting because we can be rockstar educators and be full human beings. If you're a principal, assistant superintendent, curriculum director, instructional coach, or teacher who enjoys nerding out about co-creating curriculum with students, I made this show for you. Here we go. Christina Hidek, welcome to the Time for Teachership podcast.
Oh, Lindsay, I am so excited for our conversation today.
Me too. And I have been thinking a lot. I know you said before we hit record, I'm really interested in the expansion of my understanding of shared leadership to encompass families as well as the typical students that I'm talking about. So really excited about that family school partnership dynamic. That's what's on my mind today. But wondering anything that's on your mind that you want people to kind of keep in mind throughout the episode.
I think that including parents is just really important. And it is often an overlooked, under-leveraged kind of third pillar of the adults in the room for schools, right? You have the school leaders, you have the teachers. And when I say teachers, I mean staff and everyone, right? So that's just shorthand for everyone who's not an administrator, I guess. And so yeah, they're under-leveraged, and I would love to under-leveraged, under-recognized, overlooked, and under-celebrated.
A lot of potential there.
Yes, there is so much potential. So that was a lot of negativity, but I guess I would also love for people who maybe have not had the best experience with a parent group in the past. Maybe this is your chance to reset and reframe and think about that, because the biggest thing is that parent groups, they change from year to year, which is awesome, but very frustrating. And so you have really a new opportunity, just like when you have a new set of kids in your classroom, you have the opportunity to kind of reset things. It's the same with the parents.
It segues nicely into this first question I usually ask around freedom dreaming. So Dr. Bettina Love describes freedom dreaming as dreams grounded in the critique of injustice. And so I'm hearing a lot of injustice in what you were describing, right? Is that there's this potential for family partnerships with school stakeholders, and we're not doing it. We're actually excluding a lot of families in our current system. So can you actually reformulate that into your dream? What is the dream there?
I would love for every school to have a healthy and functional parent group. In my own kids' schools, and have seen what the parent groups who have not always been 100% healthy or productive or functional, there's amazing things that can get done even there. So imagine if everyone had a parent group and then if they were functional and healthy, my mind just can't even handle the awesomeness of the potential.
What are some of the mindset shifts that either family members or school stakeholders, leaders, teachers should kind of go through to be able to make that dream a reality? I think there's a lot of probably misconceptions or kind of old ways of thinking of how traditionally we've done things. What's the shift there mindset-wise?
All right. So for parents and guardians, right? So parents is shorthand for anybody who is responsible for a child in school. I try to be really inclusive, but I use shorthand. So for parents, just know that your being involved doesn't mean jumping through and into a black hole of never-ending commitments. So that's one, because I think so many people have the perception of school parent groups and being involved in school has been shaped by what they see. What do we see in popular culture? Parent groups really are never positively represented. Normally, you see very dysfunctional groups where there's a power struggle over by the parents, either internally or with the school, about something that is of zero consequence. For example, the theme for the carnival. It's so reductive that that's what we care about, as parents, we really are really willing to fight tooth and nail over a jungle theme or a Paris theme for a party, like. So one is parents know that you're not necessarily going to get sucked into the black hole, that your involvement does matter in ways that you don't even realize how much it's going to matter in kind of till after the fact. And that is one of the reasons why I've been involved for so long and in such kind of high profile ways, that it was really, even though it was a lot of work, the payoff was there for me personally and also for my children. So it wasn't completely altruistic in me giving back. I totally am getting something back. And the other thing is that parents, you don't need to know anything in order to get involved. No one is expecting you to have all the answers, and you can say, I don't know. And so on the flip side, for everybody who is employed by the school, know that parents are coming in with probably very little experience for running a healthy and efficient school parent group. Like, there is no PTO school. It's kind of the same with like the principals, school leaders, and teachers. There's no PTO school for them either. So they don't really know the possibilities. If you have a really good experience, then great. Then that's kind of like your framework. But if you have a negative experience, then I think that's really going to stunt the possibilities of what could be for you, because that's your reality and you don't know maybe how it should be.
In terms of how we actually cultivate a thriving partnership between school stakeholders or people employed by the school, I like that phrasing, and family members, so parents, guardians, caretakers. And I imagine there's a lot of pieces, and I've seen your website, there are a lot of pieces because you have a lot of pieces in your blog posts and things, which is great. I'm wondering about kind of some high leverage practices or actions that PTO members or even families in general trying to get involved in PTOs could take. Like, what's the action on the family side? And then are there any actions that school administrators or teachers or staff could take to partner better with an existing PTO?
Sure. I think it really comes down to common or shared goal setting, because there are definitely some things that the school wants to make happen that's on their big wish list, but maybe they don't have time to make it happen. Well, then you maybe have some really motivated parents who are like, we're here, just point us in the right direction. We don't want to step on your toes. Because not every parent who wants to get involved has an agenda beyond wanting to improve the school parent group.
I'm thinking about when you talked about what I would think of as like the strategic plan, or like kind of those big goals that stakeholders in the schools have to set as part of just what they do as a leader, right? Is usually every 5 years, for example, districts have a strategic plan or schools have a strategic plan. And there's all these things that are tied to academic outcomes, to social emotional outcomes of students, like all these important things. And to contrast to your earlier example of like the carnival theme, there's meat to some of this work already being done that I see as really powerful to kind of tap the PTO or partner with the PTO on existing structures and plans, as opposed to having them completely separate.
In my own groups, because I have been a leader, it's very much been shared when the school leaders have been open to it, because not every school leader understands like the kind of deal. And I have this little joke, and I always say, oh, I got to break in a new principal, kind of show them the ways of how we do things here. I'm very open to being collaborative. I want to support the school leader and the teachers. My mom is a retired teacher, so that's my background. I know the challenges, not all of them, but a good amount. I have a very large Facebook group, and one member recently posted, she's like, we're not working at all with our school. Like, I don't even know what we should be doing because they're taking care of everything. And I was like, well, reach out to that principal and get on their calendar and figure out where you can support them. There is space for you. You don't have to do identical things, but there's so much overlap. And so to have things separated is making things so much harder on both groups. There are some really fantastic synergistic benefits of coming together. So like you talk about the strategic plan, I my district has done it, I think 3 times now, and I was involved with 2 out of the 3 this last time. My kids are almost done, and I was like, it is time for other people to step up and have their opinions kind of come in because I've had my time. But I found the process to be so beneficial and help me understand more of what the school's plans were and how they were approaching issues. And then I'm like, oh, we need to change things because in my district, there was the first strategic plan, there was a big emphasis, and this was just maybe because the person in the room was the loudest, talking about the need for discipline and that things were running amok. And I'm like, I don't, that's not my experience of seeing what's going on in our buildings, but that she really wanted that stressed in that strategic plan. But it was kind of old school thinking of
Been there as a coach in those conversations. You're like, let's pivot. We're unearthing root causes here that we might need to get into. But
yeah.
I love that you were part of the strategic plan for 2 out of those 3. And I'm curious, were you in the room with the strategic planning committee? Were there multiple family representatives?
Yeah.
And then you kind of came back to the PTO. Was it actually a topic on a PTO agenda somewhere? Like how does it, where does it live?
For me, the first 2 times we were actually in the room where the decisions were happening. And the first time, I think we were led by outside consultants. There were multiple PTO leaders who were there. And then the second time, they didn't approach the strategic plan in the same way. And so we immediately broke into committees. I think they may have given us a choice about what committee we could go to. But we were there crafting the individual objectives and laying it out and then able to give feedback because there were some things that we were like, oh, this is something the PTO can like totally help with. Like, did you know? And they were like, really? And I'm like, yeah. My recollection is that it was only the on the PTO agenda as far as an opportunity to get involved, but not something we were separately tracking because the people who were volunteering were very much in the thick of things. So they were like, I think the second time that I was on the participated in the strategic planning process, I was a leader in multiple buildings. So multiple PTA units.
So that makes sense that your representative kind of brought things back, brought opportunities back, and then it could become an agenda item. It sounds like that's awesome. I'm also thinking back to when you originally started answering this question, thinking about the skills and also resources and kind of institutional knowledge that people employed by the school have that easily could support the PTO, but often the PTO doesn't have access to or the training on. Have you been part of any sort of like skill building or resource allocation or resource building, institutional knowledge sharing that was helpful? And how might leaders in schools learn from that?
Well, yes, that's why I started my company. So I've totally built out resources because I saw that. Do you know the difference between a PTA and a PTO?
Yeah, but I only learned that from listening to you on other podcasts. So can you share with our audience?
So it's like, okay, good. I want to go over this just because there's so many misconceptions. In the US, there are over 60,000 different PTOs. So PTOs are parent teacher organizations, but they don't, that maybe that's not their name. They could maybe be a parent council, a homeschool association, a parent and teacher club, a parent council. Like there's a gajillion different names, mostly independent organizations. They are not part of a larger umbrella organization unless they happen to be a PTA. So a PTA is a parent teacher association, which is affiliated with the state and national PTA. So those parent groups all funnel up into the national PTA. So they have some training, some guidance, some there are standards of affiliation that they have to meet every year. So kind of like they have to pay membership dues, they have to be have insurance. They have to be up to date with filing their 990, all the tax forms to stay compliant because by virtue of being a PTA, they kind of inherit their 501(c)(3) nonprofit status from the parent organization of the state PTA. PTOs are independent. So all PTAs are PTOs, but not all PTOs are PTAs. So many people think that because you're a PTO, that you have access to resources. And that is false unless you are a PTA. And even if you are a PTA, you might not have everything you need. Because these are volunteer organizations, there is a shocking lack of infrastructure to ensure that the incoming leader or volunteer has the same access to the resources as the person before. There is not a mechanism for capturing all of the knowledge from the volunteer to like kind of download what's in their brain and put it in a format that someone new to the group can take on, which is super frustrating. And so that's kind of why I started PTO Answers, quite honestly, because I thought it shouldn't be this hard. I personally was frustrated. I wrote a book last year, which is banana pants because I never thought I would write a book. So it's the Principals Parent Group Playbook, and it tells you everything that it's basically PTO school in a book for school leaders on what to kind of expect from a PTO or PTA, what their role is, how the PTO or PTA should kind of be set up, what they should be looking for in order to make sure that everything's on the right track, and then gives like a breakdown of like specifically what to do for an entire calendar year so that you kind of know what to expect. Can you guess the last time a book about PTOs or PTAs was written? Exclusively about PTO or PTAs. Like not like a one-line sentence reference in a family engagement book. 1920. There was a republishing in I think maybe 6 years ago, but it was from that 1920 or 1926 book.
So, in all of your writing and research and building all of this stuff, are there particular skills or institutional knowledge pieces that you have found to be critical, but often families don't have that coming in? Like they haven't had the access, they haven't had the institutional knowledge, experience, or exposure. Like, can you share like one or two of those things just so leaders and teachers can be aware that this is something that they're going to need to support?
Parents don't understand how schools work. The last time they were probably in a school was when they were a student. Things have changed. Expectations have changed. Ways of teaching have changed. And that once you have kind of not empathy, but just like a baseline understanding of that and going, oh, yeah, their perspective is from 20, 30 years ago. Now I get like you got to have just a little, I guess it is empathy, saying, this is where they're coming from. And, oh, I might need to have a little patience with them to kind of bring them up to speed of how we do things here.
There's a lot of communication required. So I'm thinking about, leader communication, teacher communication, whether it is through students, sending things home through students, but also just directly to families to say things like, these are our goals, these are our school values, this is our bell schedule, that like all of the logistics, but also to invite family members into the school, perhaps.
Yes. And it's beyond, I think, the logistics, because that's easy enough, I think, to communicate, but it's more of the way that we do things here and the culture pieces. There was one school and a new principal came in and she happens to be a micromanager. That school leader was not willing to trust or empower the parents to kind of do their own thing. And it's a shame because parent participation really has struggled at that school since she's been there. The high school PTA, I had a principal who didn't really care for the PTA and he acted like we were just wasting his time, and he was just very difficult to work with. I brought in a new principal and it was a totally different experience. And that was my first year of being the president at that PTA unit. And it was probably one of my most favorite years because the principal just said, said yes to everything. Was like, let's do it. I was like, can seniors want to have a lock-in for after prom? He's like, sure. I was like, wait, I'm sorry. You think that this is going to be cool to have 250 kids overnight? He goes, you know what? We already did it earlier with the football team. So like, what's more kids? And I was like, oh my God, I love you. So and it wasn't just because he said yes. It was because we would meet and talk about what was going on, but also we got to know each other personally. And I would bring him treats. He was a really funny guy. I'm talking about him in the past tense because unfortunately he did pass away, which was so traumatic for our school community. But I've had the experience of working with 3 different principals in that building. And boy, there are such differences. It's really important to know is that the parents are coming in. Maybe they don't have resources and maybe you need to be the catalyst to get that because it can help with your own sanity. So even though the PTO, maybe they could find it, maybe you can like solve some of your own problems by going here, go to PTO Answers. She has got like all these different blog posts so that it can help guide them so that they are in a position to then help you with your building goals or professional goals.
I'm hearing a lot of feeling like you're not in it together is really frustrating when you get that kind of vibe from the administrator. But it can be transformative maybe when the leader is actually in true partnership, willing to not just listen to what you're trying to say and like truly value your perspective, but also being willing to try something that might initially seem uncomfortable. Are there things you would add?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, you don't have time for that because we'd be here for like weeks because I have a lot to say about that because it's more PTOs are more complex than they appear on their face. Like on the face of things, it looks like they're just party planners or event planners or fundraisers. But really, their purpose goes far beyond that. And that's, if you're just stopping there, if that's all you're getting to, where you're not truly including them as partners, then that's a missed opportunity for you.
Really appreciate that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. As we move to close, we've talked about a lot of things. What is one thing that you would encourage perhaps a family member to do once they end the episode and or like a leader or teacher, someone from the school employee side?
As a parent, look at your school, look at your child. How do you want to make their next school year more awesome? And what role can you play in that? Is it that you want to volunteer in the classroom? Is it that you would like to bring theater in to better support? I don't know. I have a friend who her child is in, 5th grade, and she helps work on the high school like set design and does that in addition to the other work she does for the PTA. And then as the school employee side, what do you want that you need help with that you would be open to having help from the PTO with, or a parent? Doesn't even have to be the PTO. Let's broaden it out. But and if you think there's no one to help, then we need to have some conversations with parents, make open house that your goal to find one parent to help you. When I was writing my book, one of the things I discovered that what is now the STEM program at the high school was initially funded by the PTA. That a teacher asked for some money, the PTA was there to fund that. And like, how awesome is that?
That's super cool. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. One of the questions I like to ask at the very end, just for fun, could be about what we're talking about, could be totally something else. What is something that you personally have been learning about lately? We love learning on this show. So.
Ooh, I do love learning. I'm trying to think. I love to learn about things and nerd out about things. I've read an entire book about olive oil. Okay, I can talk at length about olive oil because of this book. It was so knowledgeable. And you might think, how does that impact you? Well, I know how to buy a really good olive oil now and not spend a fortune. I will give you the too long didn't read version. Costco, their house brand, Kirkland Signature, actually is a very high quality olive oil that is not cut with fillers, because that is something we do. Apparently, chocolate is more regulated in the United States than olive oil. Lindsay, it's a whole thing. I highly recommend that book. I think it's called Extra Virginity. Every once in a while, I make a list of things that I would like to learn, and then I'll like go look for it. For example, I want to get on stages to talk to principals and teachers at conferences. And I was like, well, I need to up my public speaking game and I need to quit saying so much. So I Googled that, went onto YouTube, and the one video, his suggestion was just to close your mouth at the end of a sentence. I tried it. It works.
I'm going to borrow that now. Thank you.
You can't say if your mouth is closed. And I'm like, that is so like functionally simple.
Thank you for sharing both your process and the things you're learning. I learned a lot from it. Finally, where can listeners and the audience members learn more about you? I know we both mentioned you have a website. You mentioned you have a book. What are the places people can go to check that out?
Yeah. So the primary resource where all the awesomeness can be found for my world is at PTOanswers.com. I have freebies for principals. I have a PTO family engagement opportunity assessment that helps you maybe reapproach your PTO to look at maybe where you're overlooking for potentials, I think, to get more families engaged. For teachers, I have a freebie that covers 5 no-brainer ways to improve the teacher-parent group relationship. I've really framed it as a parent relationship, but it's how to get, it's everything the PTO or PTA wishes that teachers would understand. And then for parent volunteers, pick a role and there is some guidance for you. Like if you were a room parent, president, treasurer, because everyone is capable of serving in a PTO, no matter their background, no matter their experience or education level. Everyone should consider becoming involved just because of the benefits to you personally and your family and your community too.
Awesome. Christina, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Oh, it was such a fabulous time.
If you're looking for support to help you talk to your child about history, current events, or other high emotion topics, we've got you. Families are now welcome to join EduBoost. Here's how it works. Your kid brings up a topic and you're not sure what to say next, or something happens in the world or in your kid's life and you want to talk to your kid about it, but you're unsure how to bring it up. Immediately, you send us a message on Slack telling us what's going on via text or audio message. Slack can be used on your phone as well as your computer, so you can totally message us from the grocery store checkout line or at 2 a.m. when the question's literally keeping you awake at night. You get a personalized response and any relevant resources within 24 hours from me or my awesome colleague, Cara Prenikoff. Visit lindsaybethlyons.com/families for more information on family coaching.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.